Just jumping.
Sir, yes, sir. So, welcome back to the Bro Foundation family. You know, where we have profound conversations with brothers across the nation. You got your boy. Hold on. This is mindset. I'm on the brother Jesse's profile. We keep it all in the family. You know what I'm saying? But let me go ahead and update who it really is.
Right.
Wow. You know. But yeah, and Cokie, you know what I'm saying? Like, we here, man. Like, this is what we do every week. We bring y'all nothing but, the good vibes, the good energy, good conversations, you know. Um, yeah, man. Like I said, that's just what we do. So shout out to the people who continue to tap in. And yeah, man. Like I said, everything good with the family, everything good with everybody.
Yep. Another hot day in Washington. Love over here,
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
What about you, man?
Everything lovely, man. It's just baking.
For sure. I mean, it seems like there's good weather all across these United States.
And
All across these United States, and
so I say y'all going through it though.
yeah, we definitely, it's a bit of a heat wave going on up here, but it is what it is, man. So like we talked about before, man, when you don't get good weather all the time, like I'm just under the impression, man, like it's like if you don't get it all the time, when we do get it, you can't beg. This is what they say: beggars can't be choosers.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Beggars can't be choosers. So when we get it, even though it might be a little hotter than we necessarily want it to be, you just got to acclimate yourself and get you know what I mean? Like you just got to accumulate, get do what it takes. You know what I mean? Like get your water bottle, get your spray water bottle that's frozen from the freezer, whatever. Get you a good, make sure you got the AC going or whatever. But you just gotta. We don't get it too much because so when you don't get it that much, and then all of a sudden you get hit with it, people want to complain. Like, oh my God, it's too hot, it's too hot.
Yeah.
I was complaining last week when it was raining all week. You know what I'm saying? For the past 2, 3, 4, 5 months. You was complaining when it was too cold, when it was too, you know what I mean? Oh, I wish we had the good weather. So as soon as we get some good weather, now you want to, oh, it's too hot. Nah. You know what? If this is what we got, okay, let me make sure I got, like I said, I got me a good spray bottle just to mist me, hit me with the mist every now and then. Make sure I'm not if I'm at work, make sure I'm properly, geared up for I'm not rocking, make sure I'm wearing the right things. So like I said, man, you just gotta make sure that, like I said, when you do get the good weather, you just gotta appreciate. That's what it's all about. You gotta appreciate. It's the power of now. That's just that's pretty much what it is. You know what I'm saying? It's the power of now. Like if we got good weather right now, okay, we gonna soak it up. You know what I mean? Because as soon as it's gone, I'm gonna be like, damn, I wish we had that good weather back. So
It's balanced. It's balanced because if you always have sunny days, then you really, what is a sunny day? You need the rain to help you to appreciate it.
Yep.
Now, that being said, you go from one extreme where it's 100 plus. A few months from now, like it was here a few months back, it was below freezing for like 2 weeks. It never got above 30 degrees.
Yeah.
So it's gonna go. You're gonna have that to and fro. You just gotta ride the wave.
Yep. Wherever you at, that's just we. If this is where we at, then this is where we at. Let's appreciate it, and we're gonna go from there. As soon as that bad weather come, or the rain come, or like I said, the cold weather come, you're gonna be wishing you was back in that heat. So yeah, man. Yeah, we manage it through, and it ain't no simulation, it ain't no artificial intelligence going. You know what I mean? Like this is us live in effect. You know what I mean? Like this is what we doing, and like I said, so speaking on that's kind of what we're gonna talk about today. We talking about we are currently in the bubble, so to speak. Not even in the bubble. We are seeing how artificial intelligence is starting to be more and more prevalent in society in this day and age. And, things are, you got websites that you can go straight to and put in a prompt, put in, a phrase that you want to be created, and boom, it'll give you, if you want to create a t-shirt, if you want to create a video, if you want to create almost anything that you want, chat GPT, so this, kind of thing. Mid Journey, there's another one, I think you spoke about it the other day too, Henry, about the one that Drake created that song from. I think it's called Bubble or Bubble something. Anyway, we are in the times of artificial intelligence, and there's a couple of different, I guess you'll say, branches to that. But we just kind of wanted to speak on the effects of, like I said, artificial intelligence, AI, biochemical or biotechnology. That's something that quantum mechanics. Those are some things that are really, really about to be prevalent here in the next 5, 10, 15 to 20 years. The second half of this this century, so to speak. So we just kind of wanted to chime in and speak on, like I said, both aspects, the good side of it, the bad side of it. How can we get in front of it? How can we make sure that we are not victims of it? So there's a couple of different things that we wanted to talk about, but I guess we can say, just start off by like, how do we feel like what is your opinion on the effects of what's we're in the middle of and what's to come when it comes to AI and all the things that comes with it.
I think AI has been around for quite some time, just not in the space that it occupies right now. If you think about, some years back, I remember on Jeopardy, they actually had a computer that IBM built that played the game against a contestant.
Watson.
Exactly. That was kind of a form of it. Anytime that you've gotten on your computer and especially your phone, and as you're trying to search something, as you're typing it out, and it's just throwing suggestions in front of you, that's still operating within the same place. Right now, in the iteration that it's at, I would have to liken it to the internet back in the early 90s. Right now, it's a sandbox. People just getting in there and playing it. And they're just kind of figuring out what all the capabilities of it. Now, back during that time, at least when I graduated from school in 90, as a matter of fact, 1990. Prior to that, I don't think I knew anybody that had a computer in their home. My parents got theirs like maybe a couple of years after I graduated, and then I started hearing people have them. And at that point in time, the only thing the internet really was for, you were getting on, downloading music, or going in chat rooms, hanging out, silly stuff, kid stuff. And that was kind of a playground then. But as it progressed and it moved and the business sector started using it more and more, it became way more powerful. Computers became more powerful. And now we're at a point where you can order whatever it is that you want. Like there were certain businesses that got in at the forefront of this and rode that wave, your Amazon, Microsoft, and eventually Facebook. I mean, you had MySpace, but that didn't really take off like Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. Now you have these billion-dollar companies that rode that wave in the beginning. But the learning curve was over a period of 20, 30 years. AI learning curve is not going to be that long. It's going to become very prevalent in so many aspects of human life that if you don't know how to utilize it, you're going to fall to the wayside. It is going to enter in every aspect of human life. Like in education, you're going to have where it's going to be able to help students. Like you could very well have a student going through a particular module and learning, and where they have problems, it's going to be able to adjust the focus that child to help them learn there. That's going to be the pros. The cons of that is as you feed this monster, so to speak, it's getting smarter and smarter. It's going to be able to do its job better. And if it gets to that point, then what do you need to teach it for? So on the tail end of that, you could have jobs that are going to be lost unless you know how to program this and manipulate it or to maintain it. The health sector, you can very well, once enough information has been put in, you can very well get rid of a pharmacist, and you could pretty much have pharmacists set up like a vending machine because all your information will be digital. It can pull whatever, because of your case file, whatever you need, exact dosage. Like so. On the pro on that one is it can help speed up with diagnosing of diseases well before they become incurable. Now, if you look at it, the other place where it can infiltrate in, and that's where it's made the biggest dent thus far, is in the arts. And I'm going to throw music into that same group along with the arts. I said it the other night about Drake and during the beef, he had a song where he sounded like both Tupac and Snoop, or definitely Tupac. Well, there was a song that came out last year. It was Drake featuring The Weeknd. God, I looked it up today too, actually mentioned on here, but that's who the song was. But it wasn't them. It was a song that was created by AI. And if I'm not mistaken, that's what all Hollywood writers and musicians, one of the things that they were striking for, to maintain control of their likeness, images, and their voice. So you can't have a company just come out there and just start this machine out steadily spitting out content, and the artists themselves not getting anything off of it. So it's coming, but it's up to us to get out in front of it, figure out where we're going to fit in to keep it running. Any job that requires analytics, any kind of data that needs to be mined for, you're gonna be in trouble in the next few years. And I mean few. It ain't gonna be that long. So.
Not at all. I mean, like you said, man, it's pros and cons to it. There's always two sides to the coin, regardless which way you flip it. So it's not really getting away from it. It's more so, like you said, how do we adapt to change, knowing that it's coming, because it's not gonna not come. And I just feel like, at least like you said, starting with the pros. The pros is it can provide a service depending on what type of AI services that they create or robots that they create. It can provide a service to the elderly. It can provide a service to the restaurant industry. It can do a lot of growth and, just increase that effectiveness, just be a little bit more efficient in certain aspects. But again, the other side of that coin is like Henry said, there is some jobs. And if I don't know if y'all seen, I think Amazon just rolled out like 700 some thousand of them, which then took away like $175,000, 175,000 jobs. So a lot of people lost their jobs. So it's like, damn. So instead of us having these warehouse jobs, instead of having, people working in the stocking room, they can have a robot do that. I even know a company who, rather than like all the waitresses, they get, caught up in the food industry and they delivering here and they delivering foods here and talking to their customers. They got a little robot of like, hey, we're going to deliver the food for you. And yeah, you can still come build that rapport with your customers. But again, it's now something that adds a service to it, but in some cases takes it away. So it's a lot that goes into it. It's all about how you want to use it. You know what I mean? Because if it's not changing, well, it's going to change a lot. If it's not going to not happen, you're going to have to adjust at some point. Like you said, Tyrus, the best thing to do is to get in front of it or just to get involved with it so we can progress with it rather than just getting stuck behind. That's going to be the best case scenario. And it goes all the way down to the children, because the children are probably the most affected right now because of how AI is. It's in the social media, it's in programming in the school, and there's all these things that they got going on that goes deeper into it. It's just like if we can get these kids involved and we get them acclimated with what's going on with this change, then we'll be in a better place because again, they're gonna be the ones running it. They're gonna be the ones operating it. So we are, we've seen the development of it, but we're going to be affected by it at some point. They're going to be the ones running it. So we got to get these kids involved more. We got to get involved more, and just again, find the assets out of what it is because we know there's pros and cons, but find out how it can be a service to you. I think that's the first few steps to get into it for sure.
It's crazy if we really want to break it down, man. Like even though, like I said, we're talking about AI right now, but technology has always been the driving force of humanity. Always. You know what I mean? So it's like you think about, we can take it back to um, transportation wise. You go from walking to the horse to the car to the train, the plane. Like that gradual progression in and of itself is technology. It's something that it doesn't necessarily, you might not want to believe it, but it's a gradual process, just like what we're dealing with right now. It's been a gradual process. Let's think of, you can take it to um, the self checkout, at the stores. You know what I mean? Like that's AI right there. It's telling you, it's having a conversation with you. Please scan the next item. You know, put in your shopper's card. How many bags did you buy? Or how many bags are you using today? You know, that's the typical conversation that you would have with the teller or the, what I mean, the person who's will be ringing you up. You know what I mean? So that's AI in and of itself. But like I said, man, technology has always been something that has been the driving, you know, course force of society. The first airplane, the first automobile was surprising to people. People didn't believe in that. People didn't want to like, yo, no, yeah, right. A vehicle or something that's going to, no, how's that going to work? Like, no, that's crazy. But then as soon as it starts to, like, because that's the one thing about technology. Like the initial, uh, the start of it might not be great, but as it continues to progress and to get better, because the cell phone, like the communication, you got the fact that people used to have to write letters to communicate. Then they had the telegram, then they have the telephone, so it's like that scared a lot of people. People were like, nah, I'm not doing that. Like if I have something, if I want to say to somebody, I'm going to write them a letter and I'm going to send it off to them. Or I mean, but even just that fact right there, the mail service.
Mm-hmm.
You tell me I gotta put this into this mailbox, and then somebody's gonna come get it. And nah. Initially, it was, I would go see that person. If I have something to say to him, I'm going see him. And then so like I said, so we just, the gradual progression of everything. Like I said, technology is a constant progression, and as it gets better, it's going to be more and more accessible to people, and people are going to be more apt to use it because it's one of those things like, oh, okay, now this makes sense. I can see why I should do this, and those people who because there's a lot of people, a lot of companies that refuse to change with times. If you refuse to change with the time, you're going to be left on the sideline.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we have a perfect example of one of the great examples of that is the Blockbuster and Netflix.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? Netflix came to them and was like, yo, you should buy us. Or, what I mean? Like, we want to sell our company to you. Blockbuster was like, yeah, right. People are going to be buying. You mean watching stuff on the online, or you know, whatever. Yeah, right. We're not down for it. And then boom, look what happened. Blockbuster is nowhere to be found. There's maybe one Blockbuster, and that's just for nostalgic purposes. You know
Uh,
what I'm saying? Important, right? Yeah,
I
it's
think
like
it's on that Airbnb, I think.
Airbnb,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, same
which
thing.
is which is dope, but
Yeah, same thing. Yeah, so it's like you know, there's always going like so. No matter what we want, no matter what we think about AI right currently, that's what we're talking about right now. It's going to change. It's going to get. It's happening. It's here, and if you don't adapt and move accordingly, you will be left on the wayside. You will be, like I said, one of those people who are jobless because of AI. When you could be somebody that, okay, this is what the next wave is. This is what the coming wave. And speaking of that, that's the book that I just started. So when Van Jones was on Market Mondays a couple weeks ago, that's the book that he recommended, and I just started today, and it's crazy. It's called The Coming Wave. I forget who the author is, but he's just kind of speaking to all this kind of stuff, the gradual progression of technology, the gradual progression of. You look at the gun. You look at the fact how in war it used to be bows and arrows. It used to be I forget what I don't know whatever else they had, but the
well,
gun, well, yeah, was a whole different type of technology. And a lot of it, the Chinese. The Chinese are the ones who are ahead of the game when it comes to a lot of this technology. You know, um, just to keep it a buck, but that's a whole different conversation. But like I said, man, you have to be willing to adapt. You have to be willing to see what's on the forefront and be willing to change. Because otherwise you will be left to the side and you will be a casualty of what that new technology will be. So as much as it might not be the the greatest thing for in certain aspects, you still got to be willing to say, okay, you know what? If this is what's coming right now, this is what's on the precipice. How can I get in front of it? How can I adapt? How can I learn? What can I learn to make sure that I'm not a casualty of it? Because if you don't, you will be just that. So it's like, yeah, it's here. I mean, you can look at all the movies and entertainment that we watched over the past 25, 30, 40 years, and it's coming.
yeah,
You talk about deep fakes, you talk about, stuff that um yeah, that's one of the big ones. Like I said, they've been talking about deep fakes for a long time, but it's actually coming to reality. Deep fakes has typically been in movies and it's been, you got whistleblowers and all that kind of shit, but deep fakes are coming to where just like the fact that if Drake wouldn't have said that the song was AI, a lot of people wouldn't have known it was AI. You can listen to it and be like, man, that sounds pretty real. So it's coming to a point where a lot of stuff is going to be it's going to be questionable because the technology is going to continue to get better and better and better and better and better. Like we got Chat GPT 4, the Chat GTP 4 now, but the first iteration wasn't the best. The second was better. The third was better. But the fourth, this thing when it gets to Chat GPT 10, GTP 20, whatever. You know what I'm saying? They're constantly making that stuff better, and it's going to be more and more seamless. You're not going to be able to. You're really going to have to fully question. It's going to come back to the point where no, if we're not in the same space, like if you're not in front of me and I'm not in front of you, then I don't believe it because so much shit can be twisted. I can create like if I got a say if I got a Zoom call that I need to make or something like that, I can create a video of myself having a conversation with you, because I know what questions you're going to ask me, and I know how I'm gonna, how to respond, and I can, anything. But that's what we're up. That's what we're coming up against, man. So either good or bad, you have to be willing to say, okay, if this is where we're going, how can I get in front of it? What can I do to make sure that I'm not on the wrong end of it? Because 5, 10 years from now, there's gonna be so much stuff happening that you're gonna be like, damn, is that real? Did that really happen? Is that
Not to cut, not to cut the wisdom. Do y'all remember? I was trying to look it up real quick. I think it was last football season, something with the Chargers, and they had those robots at the game, and people thought they was real until they turned to the side. Y'all remember that?
That's that movie.
It was a movie premiere, but it was at the actual game.
Yeah, they actually had the folk out there, or the things out there.
You ain't see it,
His
but
movie, Denzel Washington's son was in. He was supposed to be protecting some little robot or cyborg girl, but how she was made up or done up in the movie, they had people at the game or robots or whatever at the game. They looked exactly the same, just kind of out there on the sidelines.
wow.
like it was in the crowd sitting down, and then like either after the game, they was like walking around in the crowd. But from one side, I don't think you could tell. But then when you got on the side of them, of course, you can see all the mechanics. But again, you wouldn't have known like that unless you seen them. Like, wait, what's going on at the game? Yeah, it was all over social at that time. But when I seen that, I mean, that's just again kind of how advanced the actual like life size ones got. I was like, whoa, they moving fast. They moving fast.
At some point in time, either Google it or definitely YouTube it. Miss AI. They actually had a pageant recently, and it went to the top AI companies to produce this, but they actually produced these most beautiful AI women. And they crowned one, I think it was God, I can't remember what country. I think she's supposed to be from Croatia, but she was wearing a hijab. And they actually had a video where she was supposed to be talking and thanking people for uh, for her winning the pageant, which all she did was a lot of moving like this and kind of moving the lips. But it's completely AI generated. This is not a human being.
Mm.
Like I said, right now, it's a playground. They're just playing with it and figuring out the capabilities and loading this thing up with knowledge. But to your point, Tyrus, where you start off as far as weaponry, cavemen fought with sticks and stones.
Oh, yeah.
Indians start moving in towards bow and arrows and spears.
Right.
Viking swords and axes. Then they invented gunpowder. You were shooting cannons and muskets. You had to pack, take one shot, pack, take one shot. And that sped all the way up to right now. You can have a clip. You can have 30 rounds in it and let it off.
Mm-hmm.
That's and
I think the Chinese
over that period of time, that's how long that took. But
yeah.
that was not computer time. That was just physical learning of machinery and the mechanics of how it works. If you look at when everybody first started getting online, you're talking about Windows 95, and everybody with dial up, and everybody was glad to get on that. They was having a ball. But if you had to sit through that now, man, you think you're moving slow as a snail. And that still is a relatively short time period from our introduction to the internet to where it is now.
Mm-hmm.
AI will not be that short of a time frame
At all.
and it's in my world. My job, we deal with trying to make things repeatable, which is how AI will do things. It's going to think for the maximum amount of return off the least amount of effort, and then make it repeatable, so you can do the exact same thing over and over and over and over and over. It has no choice but to think like that, just for its own preservation. It can save its bandwidth to do other things, and that's going to be what's ultimately going to come down with us. Whereas humans, we are organic and we like to create. AI is synthetic, and it's just going to replicate. It's going to keep being able to create the same things and make it simpler, and it going to another task. Now, when I said that earlier, as far as getting the artwork, you look at things like the painting on the Sistine Chapel, beautiful work of art. It's a marvel. It's been there for years and years and years. In the world of AI, it'll just turn them things out like it's nothing. And then how important is that if you can have it at any point in time, anywhere?
Value drops because it's too accessible. I mean, they can charge us for those robots, but now the value of things is going to decrease, just like the food. Yeah, it's crazy, bro. It's just, yeah, it's when you look at it, it's like I said, you gotta bend with that curve because it's not going to not happening. But as you see the advancement of it, like you said, once you start digging into the background of it, it ain't all sprinkles and glitter. You know what I mean? It's some I did a little bit of homework and noticed that I want to say Chicago has some things they put in order. New York has some things they put in order like 2012, 2013, where they was using AI generated systems to basically determine like these kids in this area, we're going to use this software to find out if they're going to be criminals. So you're telling me y'all can create a software that tells me the after effect of a child doing something and use that as, find the numbers, although they were wrong. You can do all of that and basically look for the criminal, but y'all not creating the actual prevention. So it's just like when you see that part and you hear those kind of stories and you look into it and you hear that, it's like, why are y'all looking for the outcome of something rather than preventing it from happening? So that's one of those cons where it's like they have so much access, and now that, like you said, it's been around way longer than what we actually been seeing at face value. They've already been playing around with it. And they just, like Ken said, they playing around for sure in the playground. But now y'all using it against us in ways that ain't really conducive to our demographic, the black and the browns. But again, how do we get in front of that? It's a two-sided coin, man. It's tough.
Man, how much have we seen in the movies? Like people want to don't want to people want to see, that movies are just entertainment. It's just it's just for show and all that. But what you just explained was the Minority Report,
That's exactly what it was.
pre-crime.
Yeah. For
You know
what
what I
though?
mean? You said what?
No, I'm saying, but why is that the case?
Right, but that's what I'm saying. It's like they they know what, like I said, that they've sprinkled us with all this technology and shit that's coming in the movies and entertainment that we watch. So that's why you gotta pay close attention. That's why science fiction movies are kind of like, I like science fiction movies because they show you, and not even just science fiction. It just really, in different movies like futuristic, dystopian type movies. You look at that movie, The Demolition Man. You know, where when he froze, he got frozen. He was a criminal, but he was frozen, and then they unfollowed him in 25, 30 years in the future. You know what I mean? But they were able to implant certain ideals in his brain. You know, like they wanted him. He was a seamstress or some shit. Like he had, and but Wesley Snipes' character, I forget what his name was in that movie, but he was
Simon Phoenix.
Simon Phoenix. That's right. He was a mastermind at killing. He was a mastermind at at different, because they implanted that in his head. You know, um, it's like we're saying, yeah, artificial intelligence is one thing, but biotechnology is a whole other thing. So you think, but it's all connected. Artificial intelligence, biotechnology, quantum physics, quantum mechanics, like all that, it's all connected. So like in the next 10, 15, 20 years, you could literally create your that movie Gattaca, another one. You can literally create the type of, like, what you want your child to be, a master in martial arts. You want your child to be you know disease free. Make sure that they don't ever catch you. You can literally, and it's all through the gene code. But all this technology that we're dealing with right now, and we've seen this in the movies, in our entertainment, but yet and still people refuse to pay attention and be like, oh yeah, that's just a movie. That's just entertainment. But then 25, 30 years, 20 years later, like how long ago did we see? Like I remember what movie was that? Was that Total Recall when they had video phones when you know what I mean, you FaceTiming. That was like 30 years ago.
And listen, they do it, and we know it.
You know what I'm saying? Like video calls were they looking at each other face to face, and that shit was 35, 40 years ago. But it took some time for us as a society to catch up with it. But they still will drip feed you that kind of shit, and people just don't pay attention. People just think it's just entertainment. Nah, you gotta really. That's why, man. Man, when it comes to movies and shit like that, like especially these different, you got what movie? The movie. What was that? The one where is it Maharaja Ali and then Julia Roberts? When they went up to was it when they were in the Hamptons? It was on
Mm.
Netflix. Remember when all them Teslas start crashing?
Oh, leave the world behind.
You were behind. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like that's been in movies before. Like I remember when what was that? The Fast and Furious. They had that technology. The same thing. Like she hacked into all the cars and had them all jumping off the buildings and going.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, man. All of the different Marvel movies. They show us all kind of different technology in the Marvel movies. You know, so we gotta be willing to pay attention and understand. Okay, these are the times that we're in. We can't be surprised when the shit really becomes into real life. Like it's scary. It definitely is scary because, like I said, there's so many things that are coming to where we aren't necessarily going to be prepared for it as people.
Yeah.
But that's why it's so important to study and learn and figure out how we can be on the right side of it as opposed to on the wrong side and not get scared of it. It's crucial.
I think my biggest fear with it is just furthering our dependence upon technology.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right now, the average person now, I don't subscribe to that, but the average person may have an Apple phone, so they're using Siri. They may have Alexa pods around the house, so they can all they gotta do is walk in the house, lights on, turn the TV on, they can just talk, and everything happens for them. And we younger people, we like gadgets, and that just falls right into the circle. You can just plop your butt down on the couch and just turn to such and such. Well, tell your phone, Siri, stream such movie, and you don't have to do nothing, just sit there.
Nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Use your voice.
And we just grown accustomed to that.
Mm-hmm.
We love trinkets.
You know what that
So
is?
it's gonna get to a point where you don't know what to do without it. Like all honesty, with the exception of my wife's phone number and my mother and my parents' house phone, I couldn't tell you a phone number saved my life.
Same. Same.
Whereas you used to have a little book that you wrote numbers down or you kept them in your head, I can't tell you the phone number saved my life. But that's kind of the dependence we've gotten on. Now the other side of that coin is, once again, to reference my job, I've had to go to many facilities, and the ones in the cities weren't too bad. They were open to change. The ones that was out in the sticks, can't tell you how many times I done heard somebody tell me, yeah, but a computer ain't never put a chicken in a box. Their mind is not wrapped around the idea of progressing technologically. They're used to a physical, a hands-on. Those people, and a lot of them, they're not in those positions anymore. They just did not want to, be a part of the change. Well, excuse me, they did not want to change, so they became part of the change. but you can't be afraid of it. It's coming regardless. I'm pretty sure. Matter of fact, I know I've heard a quote that's back when Henry Ford made the first vehicle. Somebody like, yeah, but that'll never outrun a car. I know way more people that got cars than people that got horses at this point in time.
Well, he didn't make the first vehicle. He just made the first. I think it was the one that was it a combustible engine or non-combustible, or to where like it was, because they were talking, because that's part of the in the book of that I'm reading is like they're talking about how the Mercedes Benz, how like they started, you know, with the vehicle, and like they might have got like the first one might have went 2 miles and that was it. Then the next one might have went, you know, 7 miles, but then they created one that, you know, that actually, like one woman, she, you know, went against somebody. I forget exactly who she went against, but basically she drove it to her family's house. Like that was like 70 miles away, you know. But then, like I said, like you said, Henry Ford is the first one that created. I think it was the engine to where like it's. I forget exactly, but
well, that was the assembly line. It was one of the two, but
exactly, the assembly line. That's where Henry Ford came in, because he created the assembly line, and because before that it was it was too expensive to create a vehicle. But once he created the assembly line, that brought the cost down, and that's what revolutionized the whole car industry. You know, so yeah, man, but like it's crazy, bro.
Yeah.
And being in my line of work, I've been places where the whole thing with the robots is taking over, where they have lines painted on the floor and you have robots that just follow that painted line, taking parts to and from. You no longer have a person on a forklift doing that. You got a robot to take care of that. As you said, you go to kiosks in hell, you got kiosks in McDonald's and whatnot. Now you walk up and order your food. Now the whole thing with that, I don't deal with those. If I walk into a place and that's all they got, I walk back out. And not that I'm that high and mighty, but I feel first and foremost, this is replacing an actual human job. So somebody doesn't have a job. Secondly, I don't work here.
Right.
So if I go to the grocery store and they have where, you know, you got your self checkout and they, oh yeah, this open. No, I'm good. I stand right here in line.
Yep.
I don't work here.
Yep. And it messed up because sometimes you go, like if you go late at night, they won't have no registers open.
Oh, I learned that one. I make sure I go early in the day because
they won't be.
I don't work here.
Sometimes I go to the QFC right by my house, and you know, because I'm the same way, man. Like I don't go to self checkout. I don't go to self checkout. That's just not what I do. There are times when it's like, say, if I'm at work or something and I need to get a quick drink and I don't want to wait, I'll go. You know what I mean? Like, because if I'm, like I said, if I'm stocking the shelves and I'm, you know, doing my thing, and I need to see a quick beverage, I'm gonna go quick to the self checkout. You know what I'm saying? And boom, boom, get back to doing my thing. But other than that, nah, man, I don't like messing with the self checkout at all. At all. So if I don't got to do it, man, because like you said, it's taking a job, and I feel like I'm doing my part. The more that I refuse to use the self checkout and wait for the person who's actually, you know, a checker, I feel like that's me doing my part to save somebody's job.
Yeah.
And not to say that I never have used one before, but never on the receipt have I seen a $2 discount for self checkout. I'm still paying whatever price. So exactly. We ain't doing that. I'll leave it sitting right here.
Yeah, that's real.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Corey.
No, I was just gonna say, I mean, what you were saying though is like the dependence that we got off this technology aspect, small or little, is basically off of convenience. You know what I mean? We have adapted the fact that these companies, they do these algorithm things where we all know when we give them our information to these social media platforms, when we give them that info, they keeping track on how we connect. They keeping track on who we talk to. We all know that if we go on the website on our phones and then we go to one of these social websites, is going to pop up on our screen because advertisement. So they are literally connecting with us based off of a connection. So it's emotional attachments. And again, because we have come so convenient and reliable on these devices, it's not much more that they can not do because it's like, okay, they're going to always, again, we talk about Teslas in the movie. Tesla is a self-driving car. Not all of them, but you can pay for it to put that into concept. When did we see a self-driving or a flying car in these Jefferson cartoons and these Simpson TV shows? But it's 2012. We got cars that drive themselves. So again, we building this connection. They building this bridge to connect with us through the connection itself and that emotion. It's like the more and more we give information to these devices, to the social media platforms, like y'all said, the more advanced it's now going to become because what we know and what we've known in the past is what we've learned and experienced. AI can't predict the future. They learning from what we went through, and then a person or an entity or a company is now providing that robot or that technology that information. But it can't do much more than what it don't know. But the more and more we provide that information, it's like you said, and Todd, I think you said it. It's just going to outgrow us to a degree. It's going to be like it's moving faster than what we can move because production lines gonna look different. We already said McDonald's look different, Walmart's look different, restaurants about to start look different. It's like it's not gonna be something we can stop. But again, if you want to be a part of it on the other side, you kind of got to leave your paper trail in a different way. If you are, oh, I don't want to be none, I don't want to change, I don't want to do this, well, make sure that you're doing this too, because now your information, your perspective is now adding to their information so they can like, okay, well, this doesn't work for this demographic on this side of the world, but it does work over here. We're going to push this over there. And that's just how it's going to continue to evolve. And like y'all said, it's not much that can be done at this point. We've seen so much growth from just 2000, at 2000 to 2024. That's 24 years. Some of our kids wasn't even born yet, but we can just look at from 2000 to 2024 how much things has advanced. The next 25 years, we just gonna be catching up to Japan. Japan has everything automated. They got automated parking lots. They got automated restaurants. They got automated trains. They got everything. So it's like they even have home like little built-in sleep-ins so you can just go check in into like a mini hotel and just sleep there for the night. That's all accessible just through AI. No one's there. They got hotels where you can go check in at the kiosk and it's just a robot sitting there talking to you. They already 20 plus years ahead of us. So once we get to that point, we gonna have our hands full. But like we said, this whole conversation, not the whole, but the gist of it at the end of it's like, how can we be a staple to that? How can we put our pen in like as a culture, as whatever, to be like, okay, I was a part of this. I helped evolve this, or I made sure we didn't lose that integrity. Like y'all said, I'm not gonna go to no grocery store and then not be assisted by the things that I'm paying for. It just doesn't add up. Again, I do it for the convenience, but yeah, if I'm gonna go to Winco, I'm gonna go to Fred Meyer's, I'm definitely walking through that line.
And that's how they play. That's how they get you. That's how that's the whole thing. You know what I mean? Like, I remember when at first there was like maybe one or two self checkouts, maybe, started with one, and then all of a sudden you start seeing 4, 5, 6. The majority of the lanes are self checkout lanes, but they play on your time. They play on you with your time. You know what I mean? Like if you don't want to wait in line, here you can go. You can use a self checkout. Boom. And a lot of people aren't they refuse to really like understand what they're doing. Like, because people be so impatient.
I didn't know.
People be so impatient, and I don't feel like waiting in this line. You know what? Come on, I'm gonna go self checkout, and that's how they get you. That's how they get you. People will continue to, hit the self checkout because they don't have the time to wait. They don't have the time to wait. I seen self checkout at a damn fast food store at a 7-Eleven I was in the other day. You mean to tell me you got a self checkout at a damn corner store? You kidding me? That's wild. That's wild to me. You know, it was wild, you know, like I said, when I first seen it at the grocery stores, but to see it at a corner store, you got a self-checkout line at a corner store. It's crazy, you know. But yeah, man, they play on us with our emotions. And our emotions is, you know, in our time. I will take that time. If I have the time to, you know, and if you really think you really want to get deeper with it, is you look at the DoorDashes, you look at the Uber Eats, you look at the, you know, people are willing to pay $10 and $20 more for a meal because they don't want to go spend the time, take the time to go pick it up themselves.
And I'm the person I go right get it for you because I'm not lazy.
You know, like I'm not doing that, man. I can't. I mean, I don't think I've ever used DoorDash or Uber Eats or any of that stuff.
I haven't.
I mean, of course, you know, you can keep it a buck and say, you know, when I've you've used the delivery service, you know, I've called the actual spot and was like, you know what, yeah, you can deliver that, you know, a pizza,
Yeah.
you know, but nothing else. I guess, you know, I mean, I guess that, I mean, but if you want to keep it real, that's a part of it too, you know. Initially it was all takeout, you know, but then they got clever. It was like, you know what, we'll deliver it for you for an extra fee. So you don't got to leave your home, the comfort of your home. You know, they'll play on you with that, the comfort of your home, your time, all that kind of stuff. Quit worrying about trying to create, you know, just let AI do it. Let GTP do it for you. You know, you put in what you want, and we'll create it for you. It's
Man,
playing on
listen,
your emotions.
you ain't never
And that's
lied.
hard to resist.
Yeah,
Sorry, go ahead.
and that's it. You're exactly right, Hen. It's hard to exist because it's comfort. It's comfort. Who don't want to, you know what I mean? Like it just goes back to what we were talking about a couple weeks ago, how it's like I don't if I need to do something before I get off after I get off work, let me go do it before I get into the comfort of my home. Let me go do it first, because once I get home, I'm gonna be comfortable, I'm gonna be relaxed, I'm not gonna want to go nowhere. That's just what it is.
I just seen a number. I know Ty, you mess with them heavily, but I had seen this earlier. This from Earn Your Leisure. It says a survey shows how China is leading the world in adaptive generative AI.
Yeah.
Among 1,600 global industry decision makers surveyed, said 83% of Chinese respondents reported using generative AI, surpassing the global of 54%, and 65% is used in the U.S.
Yep.
That on Monday. So that's right there where we're headed.
Yeah.
So if
China's
80,
always been ahead of the game. They've always been ahead of the game. That was another thing that was in my book, in the book that I'm reading, is like they're just kind of basically telling you how, like, yeah, China has always been ahead of the game when it comes to technology. You know, and it's because like everything when it comes to us here in America, it's all capitalist based. Over there, it's communism, but that what's the root word? That's still community. You know what I mean? So it's like they're not necessarily trying to get a dollar off of everyone. You know, like they want to create a seamless society so everybody can live in a, you know what I mean, like in a smooth. But here in America, they trying to figure out, okay, how can we get a buck off of this? How can we get a dollar off of this? How can we make it, you know, lucrative? At the end of the day, that's what you know, everything is, you know, is typically based off of capitalism. But like I said, you look at China, they have shared the technology with the people, so they can live a smooth, seamless life. It's not on some, okay, we gonna hide it and we gonna hold it, we gonna keep it, you know, until we can figure out how to make some money off of it. They're still making money off of it in different, you know, like I say, you probably got to go places and you probably have to pay this amount of, to if you want to charge your phone or whatever, different things. Like some of the stuff that I see that they have over there, it's like, why are we not living like this over here? Like we should be living just like this.
You know what's, not to cut you one last time, just to add to what you're saying, the life expectancy in China is way higher than ours as well. You got grandparents in their 80s, 90s still doing yoga and doing stuff around the garden. But like you said, they don't live off that capitalistic lifestyle. It's like, how can we advance people's...
As a people.
Yeah, as a people, not as like a service. I mean, not as a income stream, more so it's just like help our people.
Right.
Basically.
This is gonna help everybody live a more seamless and more comfortable lifestyle, so to speak. But everybody is able to do it, not just the rich and the ones who have all the money. It's everybody. Let's all eat. Everybody go eat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Crazy.
Because Western way of life is hell. We viewed as being during this just coming out of the Stone Age by a lot of other nations. Like, and I was overseas last year. The tour guy was telling us about Dubai. It was a fishing village in the desert because they right off the sea right there. Anyway, they poor until they hit oil, like in the late 60s, like 69, 68, 69, somewhere there. So whenever you look and you see Dubai, it came from basically 50 years ago to present day. Look how far they've come, and we have been our own nation for how long? And how far behind are we versus them?
Mm-hmm.
That's real.
Now it's a whole lot going there when you say that as far as the technology that they're using to be able to see potentially who will be criminals in a certain area. Well, I mean that could very well be crime prevention. It could be, possibly it is, but with that same notion, if you think about how many prisons in the U.S. are actually state ran versus privately run.
Mm-hmm.
If you think about it in that sense, then that might not necessarily be to deter crime. That's just making sure that you keeping the wheels spinning.
Right.
You always got a fresh crop in there because you go get subsidies off of for your prisoners being there. You go get funding because everything that we spend money on, and I know this is kind of going off topic a little bit, but everything that we spend money on is boiled down to two things that actually move the needle. It's either going to be love or fear.
Mm-hmm.
That fear one, that's where you get funding for prisons being built. So you have X amount more prisons in a state than you have colleges. It's profitable. You always going to have somebody doing the wrong thing. So you get them in there, and this is pretty much legal slavery. One job I actually worked at where they actually got people who were inmates, it was almost like a work release. Every day they'll come and work, and then they take them right back. Now, granted, they got a wage, but the wage that they were getting wasn't the same wage as the free people. They got it on their books, but they were only allotted a certain amount of money on themselves to actually have and put in their canteen. But the rest of it just kind of got stacked. So all decisions, everything that's marketed falls somewhere under those two things.
Thanks. So let me ask y'all this: just where y'all at? Let's say y'all got a business. Are y'all using just AI or any technology? Are you going to adjust, or you feel like if I was to open up my own grocery store, corner store, whatever the case may be, do you feel like you are in that field of I'm gonna use it, but use it for the good, or are you kind of like, it doesn't really matter? Like, are you pro AI, or are you kind of on the fence, or are you like I'm against it?
I would be pro. I mean, not even grocery store, just in the job I'm doing now. I'm starting to learn up on it because there's reports and things that I have to create that take hours of my time to find the data, put in, build the reports to turn in for whoever to review. If I can take, 10 minutes, put this information in 15 minutes, I'm done versus, a couple of days working on this. Yeah, that's well worth my time. That frees me up to do other things. That makes my life easier. Now, in the instance of the grocery store, same thing kind of implied. I mean, it's it's screwed up, but yeah, that still helps me because I'm in business to make money and to provide for my family. I like to be able to provide for the community, but that's not solely my responsibility to make sure that everybody has a job. I can do the best I can. Sorry, after that. I mean, it sounds very cruel, but
But
at the
no,
end of the day, I'm getting
that's
in
real.
business the most profit for the least amount of effort.
Maximize efficiency.
It's being a producer versus a consumer. So like as a business owner, like if I'm Kroger, like we were talking about with the last names, last week, like um, if I'm Kroger, if I'm Cars, if I'm whoever else, I was just saying systems.
Mm-hmm.
Save yourself stress, time, energy, and money. Bottom
Say it
line,
again. Say it again.
save yourself stress, time, energy, and money.
Y'all go. Hope y'all listening.
You know,
Break it all
because
down.
that's what systems are about. I have a business. Like me, like I'm actually just about to get it back going, but it's about you have to create systems, and the systems that you create are going to help you save yourself when it comes to the. Just to keep it a buck, the human element when it comes to like if I know like of course I want to create jobs for people, but if I can take the human element out of the process of like say theft, stuff like that, um, put them in harm's way of like say fighting with customers and stuff like that, whatever. I want to do that, but I still want to provide them jobs. But if I can remove you from the aspect of you stealing from the you stealing from me, then I want to do that as well. So I will put you in a place, put you in a role that you can, in a sense, monitor those AI systems. As opposed to you being the one that's actually doing that job, so to speak. It's just like what I was saying in the chop up, man. Like these remote jobs in different parts of of the world are the ones who are going to like say, especially so. Like in the book, they broke down how like I think what did I say? Elon is creating systems, but Jeff Bezos is building robots, right?
Mm.
Like so, Jeff Bezos is the ones who he's building robots that are going to need AI, and that's going to need jobs, but those jobs are going to be remote, right? So if you have the remote job and the robot is going to be doing the actual movement and stuff like that. Like I said, I seen a video where the dude was in a remote place. I'm not sure what country he was in, but they said something like he was getting paid less than $4 an hour. So it could have been in America, you know. But a robot was over here in say a different country. So let's just say he was in America. The robot was actually stocking the shelves, but the dude who the remote worker had the goggles on and he sees what the robot sees. So all he has to do is control the robot. Boom. He grabs the item, puts it on the shelf, grabs the item, puts it on the shelf. The robot don't need to take a 10-minute break every 2 hours. You know, that remote worker might have to, you know, relax or whatever. But if I got three remote workers and I'm paying them $4 an hour, but the typical human you would end up having to pay $15 an hour. Every time that remote worker say takes a 2 hour break, boom, you plug in that second remote worker to keep going, because you're still paying less, 3 times less than what you would be paying if he was really there.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't I do it? You know what I mean? So like I said, as a business owner, I definitely would be on the side of pro AI, because like I said, it's about systems. It's about having those things in place to make your company, your job, you know, to run smoother. But you would still want to have people controlling those different systems to make sure that everything is running smoothly. Of course, there's going to be fewer people, but you still want to provide a job for you know, this person, that person, because that's just being, you know, what you do as a business owner. So yeah, man, it's a double-edged sword. But at the end of the day, man, if you're a business owner, your whole job, your whole mentality is to figure out what you can do to make your business run more seamlessly without any hiccups. So that's why it's so important when it comes to this AI shit, when it comes to this biotechnology shit, when it comes to this quantum physics and mechanics, as we move into the future, is to learn it so you can, so when those companies start hiring those people who they need to control these different jobs and different systems, you can be on the forefront of that and say, yeah, I know all about this. You know, not everybody's going to have that ability. A lot of customer service jobs are going to be the ones that are going to be the first ones to go. Let's just keep it a buck. Let's keep it honest. Like, a lot of those customer service jobs are going to be the first ones to go. That's just what it's going to be, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, and even in my position, all I do, you know, for the most part, you know, like I said, not even for the most part, like, if the company that I work for starts slimming, you know, trimming down, you know, or if they start incorporating more AI into their, you know, and then they say that they hire robots to stock the shelves, where does that put me?
Mm-hmm.
You know,
That's the nature of the beast.
nature of the beast, man. So you gotta be in front of it. You gotta get ahead of it, and you know, that's my that's gonna be my question. How do we feel that we can get ahead of all this technology that is really going to be on the precipice, that's really on our doorstep in these next 5-10 years? Like, how do we think? And then, you know, God willing, you know what I mean? Like, I don't necessarily I don't want to be working for the next 5-10 years, but to ensure that happens, that I'm not working in the next 5-10. What do you feel that we can do to make sure that we're in front of what this AI technology is bringing us?
I think the simple are the most one of the simplest ways to do is just to take the fear base out of it first, because something that you fear, which is false evidence appearing real, once you adapt to that mentality and you talk to your subconscious and you program yourself to believe this story that you already created in your head, that this isn't good for me, you're going to always have pushback against it. And that's not going to do nothing for you, knowing that this road is going to advance. It may not be overnight, it may not be a year from now, but eventually it's going to be automated. So instead of running from it, put yourself in a position of how can I, like stocks, how can this benefit me moving forward? What is it that I can invest in, rather be knowledge, rather be invested into the product itself? How can I get ahead of that by doing this? Like, what are the steps? And I think, again, first and foremost, take the fear out, but then educate yourself. Because the more you educate about what these people are doing and why they're doing it, you can kind of see the trend in what's next. Because there's always going to be a what's next. And if you can start getting hip to that, now you can kind of move with the curve rather than getting left behind. So those first two steps really is educating yourself. And again, first and foremost, remove the fear. Because if you fearful of anything, how can you get past that stage of, oh, I'm gonna take a step to go closer to it? You won't. It won't get you anywhere. So to keep it simple and plain, just them two. I'm sure there's more, but that's just where I'll be at with it first, taking those first two steps.
People hate what they don't understand. Excuse me, and they fear what they hate, or they hate what they fear.
Yeah.
We've seen so many movies of these rampant robots just going around killing people, turning evil on people. That's not what AI is going to produce. It's not to say that it's going to be 100% safe, because when the internet first started out, you didn't have so much the cyber crimes going on. But as as it progressed, something else was born. So eventually, yeah, something is going to happen with AI where there's going to be issues with it as well. But right now, it's the way of going from a candle to the light bulb. It's the natural progress. It has no choice but to change, just because that's what society demands. Society demands an easy road, something simple, where we don't have to put so much complex thought and all these different things, when you create something and let it do it for you. The thing is, though, is do your research to figure out how you can fit in this. I mean, if it's not something as simple as you Google, how can I use AI and whatever it is that you do currently? Small businesses built around AI. Figure out whatever it is, and you have all these tools you can go to YouTube University and learn whatever it is that you want.
Yeah.
And how it changed the AI. You create a career and take off with it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's in the age of information, ignorance really is a choice. You can choose to get on board with it now to learn and figure out where you fit in the life of AI, or you could be on the sidelines and watching it go and wishing you could got on like that. It's really all up to you at this point.
Yeah.
Or rather up to us. I'm not going to just, point and finger at anybody else, all of us, to figure out how this can work better for us and better our lives.
Yeah, as a collective. But just to add to that real quick, but that's another thing where if we had like, how we got like OGs in the game, we got like elders that we can look to. We need to be following those, find some mentors, or we need to have these type of conversations with our family and friends to sit down and educate them so we can all as a community get to these points.
Yeah. And what I'll add to it is it sounds like what you said, Henry. There's two sides of it. If you're creative, get on that side of the marketing, the creative, like the canvas, the being image creator, there's another one I just said it earlier. What is it? It's I just said it earlier. It's Midjourney. That's another app where, like I said, these are all the creative apps that if that's your bag, then learn those systems, because you're going to be the one, to create these different things. And it still takes people to run these different systems. That's what we're going to. It still takes a person to run these different systems. Even though Chat GPT is doing this thing, you still have to feed it the information. So get well versed, understand the value when it comes to putting in the right information, and so the more that you learn, the more that you'll be able to feed it the proper questions, or the correct prompts, to where that's going to make you have that's going to be more lucrative for you. If you're on the more the technical side, cybersecurity is where it's at. You know what I mean? Like these websites are going to get inundated with, if people are continuing to purchase things, or continuing to be like their identities being taken, being taken, or just all kind of different things. Cybersecurity. That's good. It's, as we continue to get more and more into this internet stage, internet life, and online, and we because we haven't even talked about how, like, the fact that more and more of life is being lived online. So you're going to have to be more and more protected online. Your voice, the fact that you can, I forget what service it was that I have that said that I could actually use my voice to authenticate my profile. I think it might be my phone account. I think it was what it was, but I can use my voice to authenticate my profile. No, I'm not giving you my voice. I'm not feeding my voice. Like, that's it kind of goes back to where we're, like, I could I could be, adverse to it right now, but if that's what the wave is, if that's where it's going, am I gonna have to eventually say, you know what, fuck it, I gotta feed you my voice, even though I don't want to feed my voice into a computer system, or into a file, to where they can say, oh yeah, this was you, boom, and play my voice back and authenticate it that way, and then, or eventually use my voice to do something illegal, or something that I didn't do, because these things aren't regulated yet. There's no regulation around this shit yet. So that's another thing that we got. You know what I mean? Like, so there's so many different branches to it. But at the end of the day, if I'm just dead set against, I'm not going to give you my voice. I'm not going to do it. You're going to use my voice to do. They can get my voice any way they want to.
Our computers.
If they want to, if they want, they can get it. They already got it.
Alexa.
They already got it. Like, how many times have you said, like, when you might be calling a company, and they say, speak what you want done right now, and you speak the whole entire phrase. That's a way of them recording your voice. Like you said, Alexa, same thing. So, yeah, I said, just to kind of backtrack, man. Like I said, there's the creative side. If you're creative, understand and learn what you can about that side of it. If you're more technical, be on the technical side with cybersecurity, and protecting. Learn that. Get a certificate. Key, shout out to Key. You know what I mean? Like, we know you do it. Like, that's on the side that you doing. Like, that's smart, because we're only getting more and more into these computers every day. Life is being lived online more and more every day.
Yep.
Straight up.
That's them software developers, those cybersecurities,
yeah, cybersecurity, software to be 100%.
Coders and app developers. That could be a way where we can be efficient when it comes to our kids, like introduce them to those, because again, we had MySpace and didn't know what that was, but now they have
time.
Come on, man. We was way ahead of our time. But now it's like now these kids have access to this information, like you said, Henry, YouTube University. Or just go find a free course that you can do to get your hands in that. Now, software developers, is it cybersecurity, it's coding, it's whatever the case may be. Now you have a tool, you have a skill set that can be multiplied many different ways and many different times and all around the world.
Yep.
But again, do we want to do physical labor? That's the other side of that.
Right.
And that's why a lot of these jobs are being created, because we have become conditioned to be lazy or comfortable and use convenience. But again, if you have these trade skills, you have these hands-on skills or mental skills, those can go a long way. So that's the other side of that. So
Yeah.
it's up. So really, it's our choice.
Up to us. Up to us. And I definitely think that that's something that we should, you know, kind of, in a sense, focus on in these next coming, you know, 6 months, year, you know, because we all realize that the next 3 to 5 years is when that's the window right there as far as what the shit that's gonna come. But if we can get ahead of it in the next 1.5 to 2 years, we'll be ahead of the curve and be able to, you know, maximize, you know, our energy and maximize the abilities and, you know, put ourselves in position to, because there's a huge wealth transfer that's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to create a huge wealth transfer. So
that shift is coming, regardless we want it or not. It's going to happen.
Regardless.
Absolutely.
Regardless. Man, great talk, fellas. Man, this is one of the ones. And we'll revisit it down the line, because we know as it continues to expound and as we see more and more, we know that it's going to garner, you know, more of our attention. So, you know, we should always make sure that we, you know, circle back to it when it's these type of conversations. But yeah, man, definitely another good convo, man. You guys anything to wrap it up with? You guys want to say anything?
Nah, man. I just think we need to what's your phrase? We need to educate, we need to infiltrate.
Infiltrate, educate, and vacate.
That's it. The words from
Infiltrate, educate, and vacate. Whatever job you're doing right now, we know that you know they're using some kind of AI technology, whatever, you know, using some kind of something that you can use. So educate yourself on those systems, and that way, when it's time for you to dip out, to leave, you'll be knowledgeable, and you'll know how to apply that into your next, you know, your next endeavor.
Most definitely.
So
appreciate you, brothers, man.
Appreciate y'all too, man. Appreciate y'all too, and everybody who continue. Like I said, we appreciate the continued support. We're gonna keep leveling up. We're gonna keep doing what we do. We're gonna keep bringing you these good conversations. We're gonna start having some guests on here pretty soon too. I already got a couple people in mind that I know I want to tap in with for them to bring us their story. But yeah, this is what we do, man. These profound conversations, what we do. So on that note, we're gonna say peace out. This is Mindset.
It's complex key. My bad. It's complex key.
Complex key again.
But y'all know what it is, man. And then shout out to Jay Hunter, man. He wasn't able to tap in with us, but had to, you know, again, put in that physical labor and provide family. But he here with us in spirit, and you know, we gonna get together and we gonna get this thing rocking, man. We appreciate y'all for real.
He's gonna be back, and when he come back, you better watch out, because he's gonna have a lot to say.
Yeah, he said he out, so y'all be ready.
Be ready for that. So yeah. All right, y'all. We appreciate y'all. We'll see y'all next time.
Peace and love.